Hello and welcome to the stream. Today we're going to talk about AI again, like I did in my last set of ramblings, because I've had to eat my words slightly. Last time I was talking about AI art and how I thought, oh, it's brilliant to use, like I have no issues with using AI art. Sort of as a tool, because I could never afford to commission artists, and it allowed me to create something in a way that I couldn't before, like just from my personal perspective. But as a guy who makes backing tracks, I'm eating my words because now there's AI tools obviously available, Suno and Udio, which allow you to basically generate music from a text prompt the same way that you could from just with the same way that you could before with, you know, it's the same way as art generation works basically. And this is a nightmare. It really changes your perspective when it's your field. It really does. So I was thinking we could look at some of this tech. We could make an AI track in real time based on what people in chat are prompting. That sort of thing. Could be fun. I think that could be good. Also, there's some really funny... I was really stressed when I saw what these tools could do, because obviously I discovered about them from watching other people's content, and so I was quite alarmed, and I thought, wow, this is fucking shit, because obviously it's my dream to be able to turn what I do on YouTube into a job. Isn't that anyone's dream who does anything on YouTube? And it seemed like it might actually be possible. And then all of a sudden you've got this AI music that you can just make with a prompt. And there's been a lot of people talking on YouTube for ages about how it won't happen with music because music's it's a lot more complex than imagery and it's a lot harder to make, but it's a thing now. It can be done and it's not half bad. It really isn't. As we'll get into a bit further down the line. And there's been some really funny stuff people are making. Like, I'm so glad that people are using it. I mean, you have to laugh. You have to laugh at these things. Or you can get doomerish about it. But yeah, it's crazy what it can do. But it does have limitations, which even in the very short time that I've messed around with it, I've realised. But I suppose it's good if you have a big image, a big dream for something you could do with music, and you have no inclination for music, you can just you can write the lyrics, you can type a prompt, you can just create anything in theory. But of course it's based on, like all AI stuff, current AI stuff is based on recycling pre-existing material. So yeah, it's wild. I kind of want to just jump into it because it's actually crazy what this can do, and I kind of want to show it. Give me a second. And yeah, I'm still figuring out this setup, this streaming stuff. So this may or may not work straight away. Bear with me. Okay, that's helpful. Okay, that's not working properly. Give me a sec. How do you... Bollocks. Okay, well that's fucked. I guess I'll just have to go for the audio. Which is a shame. So I'll share you an example of something that's quite funny that's been made with generative AI, because like AI music, I'll just show you this as an example. It's a bit vulgar, but that's why it's funny to me. I know, simple humor, but here we go. You might have heard some of this stuff already, I don't know. But this is there's a lot of stuff popping up that's like 1950s style music. Partly because of sort of the glitchiness of the sound. It's almost more masked by 1950s music, but it's also funnier because people are putting you can put your own lyrics into it and it will sing it. And I think that's what this is. And I'll just play it. You'll be able to hear it, but yeah. I got my balls to my butthole, yeah. So stupid. My God, what did I do? I can't take a dump, 'cause now my balls are blocking up my butthole. Fool me once, shame on you. This blew my mind when I first heard it. Shame on you. Good God, I pulled too hard. It's a very bittersweet way to sort of, hear about that kind of... to have your mind blown by the technology. Fuck, where's the chat window? God damn it. This is like my second stream ever, so I'm still figuring stuff out, so you have to bear with me. How do I bring the fucking chat up? Okay. You get the idea. It's ridiculous, right? It's actually mad. It's pretty, it's really funny, but it's also scary at the same time. There's another really funny one. Rubbing and tugging my nips, which was a bit of a meme and did some circles. Man, the comments are funny. But one of these comments that keeps popping up on these AI videos, which I think is a pretty good point, although it may not be 100%. The vibe is what matters, and it's like, and the point was sort of, I thought the whole point of this AI sort of technological development was to take away the menial tasks so that people would have more time to work on artistic pursuits. Not do it ass backwards and just take away all the fun stuff, replace with AI, so that, not to strip all that out. And I think that's a sentiment that I can definitely get behind. And absolutely, some of these companies are just rushing for that, 100%. But it's not exactly true that AI wasn't being used for the menial stuff first. Like, a lot of jobs have already been lost. Like, just menial digital-based stuff like data entry and things like that. Where is chat? Hang on, I'm just trying to get back where I was last time. I think I lost the plot, man. There's a way to bring up... I'm not seeing chat at the moment. I'm sure there's a way to just have it here, because I had no issue with that last time. No. Well, this is annoying. God, I'm such a noob. I want to do these every week, and at least like this time the camera's not all choppy. I don't know if any of the few people that are here were at the last one, but oh my god. That was a bit all over the place. I didn't even realise that it was like one frame every 3 seconds until afterwards, and I saw the recording. I know it's not like that this time. There we go, we'll figure it out. I plan to do a stream every week at this time and just talk nonsense like I am today. It won't always be about AI. The reason that I'm talking about AI again is because of that development since the last stream. That because last time I was saying the stuff that like I started with, which was like I use AI art for thumbnails and things like that, and I didn't really see a problem with it. Perhaps I lacked the perspective then. It's a weird one. This is going to change a lot, but also I think it could be a good thing in some ways. It could be. I mean, it's a case of it's going to get shit before it gets better, but I feel like a lot of chart music for the longest time ever has sounded quite robotic and generic anyway. So it's not that much of a stretch to have an AI do it, but the AI stuff is better than that. Let me give an example other than that specific thing. Fuck, I can't. Until I get chat up, this isn't really going to work because I wanted to demonstrate it with someone from chat saying something. Maybe I'm just not. Maybe no one's chatting. Maybe that's why. Even though it said some. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't have a chat window either. Oh, we'll just have to roll with it as it is. Okay, so let's fuck around. So actually, do you know what? I'm going to go on another aside. So the whole thing is, there's a lot of channels on YouTube now that are doing these AI, this sort of AI 50s music. Some of them are good. Some of them are quite funny. Some are better than others, as you'd expect. And some of them are just some of them are just shit. And you can tell, like, the people that have put effort into it. Because, like, much like with imagery, with these AI tools, you have to sort of... To get really good stuff, you have to spend some time and you have to sort of refine it. And that's sort of, I suppose, the work that you have to do, if you can call it that. And you can tell the ones that have more time spent on than others. And that are better crafted, but I don't know, man. It's gonna be bad in terms of an end product. But music's so much more than that. Like, music is a performative thing. People aren't going to stop making music because you've got a computer that can spit out an end result, you know? I think people will keep making music, and it almost makes you value sort of the less formulaic aspects of music, or of what modern music has become. And I'm quite guilty of making my music somewhat clinical, you know, not having like the little nuances and the mistakes in. Like, it becomes a habit to edit these things out, and then when you go back a bit, not even that far, because of the limitations of recording, it actually captured something that was more genuine, you know, and it has a different charm to it. So AI really doesn't replicate that very well. I think what would be quite fitting was if, do you know what? Actually, I'll do it. I'll do it. Even though you can't see what I'm doing. I think this would be a fun and relevant thing for this channel to give it as a prompt. Bear with me. Let's go for some guitar solo shredding, like Eruption. You can't put artist names into it for copyright reasons. That's sort of their way of stopping it from churning up stuff that other people have made from its training set. Oh, it takes like 2 minutes. Okay. It's created something called ripping strings. I don't know what this is going to sound like, but we're going to hear what a guitar solo sounds like with the prompt that I've given it. Okay. Not what I asked for. See, this is really impressive considering it just made this out of nothing just now. But it sounds very yeah, it's very lo-fi is how I put it. But really cool. That's quite cool though. I hate to admit that I like it, considering that just came from nothing, you know. Well, not from nothing, it came from a lot of people's work. I think we're about to reach the end of our preview. The guitars don't sound right though, they sound like MIDI guitars. That's one thing I've noticed. I've heard like different ones where they sound more realistic. What surprised me actually is that when it does sax sounds probably more like a real saxophone than the guitars do, like the electric guitars, which is strange. It's not what you'd expect. But then I've heard ones where the guitars sound really good. I guess it comes back to that thing where you have to fiddle around with it. It's like with the AI imagery and you get all the weird fingers and stuff. I'm saying that like I'm a proponent of it, but no, I'm not going to use AI music at all. Although for science, I did test to see so here's the thing I've noticed: it creates cool stuff, but it struggles when you give it specific details. Like if you want it to make things in a certain key or a certain tempo. It doesn't understand. Like, for example, the thing that I just prompted, I just wanted a solo guitar on its own. And I don't know, maybe my prompt wasn't clear enough. Let's try again. Just guitar. See what it comes up with. We'll have to wait a couple of minutes again. So what I'm using right now is Suno. Udio has actually better sounding outputs, but it seems to struggle more with prompts, is my understanding. Okay, let's hear this. No, that's not it. Hang on. Again, like I specified this time, just guitar. It's still really cool, again. See, this is like, this is a really good writing tool, right? Like, I could see, like, using this as, if you're stuck. Like, a lot of people use ChatGPT like that. Like, you wouldn't use it to write your assignment or your serious thing, but it's very good for like brainstorming ideas. It's tricky. It's tricky. It's gonna be very messy, I think. The adoption of this stuff, and it's gonna fuck a lot of jobs. You know, people like small composers, especially freelancers and stuff, like who do composition and like scoring for certain types of instruments. Although I don't think it's there yet, actually. But it's really good for its commercial uses. Like, yeah, there's a lot of sort of commercial sync music that sort of like, it's like background music or advertising music. I think there was a high profile one of a company that used, man, some of the hip hop stuff is funny. Like, because you can just give it the lyrics, and then like you can see how that could be useful for like promotional stuff, like for advertising or whatever. And so that's like work that musicians and producers who would otherwise make that music would get, which sucks. Even if it's not as good. But what? Wow, I want to show you some orchestral, actually. Because I thought there's no way it can do that. Like, so you can understand why it could do like pop music or even rock or hip hop and things like that. But I thought there's no way it can do orchestral music because that's too complicated. I don't even know what to prompt it with this. I'm just going to say it was sad orchestral music because I just trying to think of something quickly. Melancholy Symphony, okay. I have to wait for it to finish. Okay. I like that piano. I shouldn't. Do you know the weird thing is those strings sound not bad. A bit garbly. So like yeah, it is a bit limited. Hang on. Actually, you know what? Let's try the other one after this. Okay. We're going to try Udio now. This time I'm going to say full orchestra. I actually think this one's quicker. And basically, I think the guys behind Udio in particular... So the people behind both of these AI tools are obviously big tech guys. Like, I think OpenAI is behind Udio. I can't remember about Suno. But yeah, big tech guys, basically. They don't take kindly to having to pay for musicians, apparently. I mean, this one's come up with cooler titles. Elegy of Silence. Oh, this must be the one that takes 2 minutes. But I think the quality is overall higher. Well, we'll find out in a minute. Or 2, I suppose. In the meantime, I should try and figure out how to get this going. Oh no, there we go, it's up. Okay, let's have a listen. Okay. pretty cool. I'd say it's there. Oh, hang on. Is that the second one? So it's given two. So both apps, or sorry, sites spit out two versions of two creations based on your prompt. See, what I would say about both of those, and maybe it's... No, it's not just me. It's like they sound... Sorry, so they structurally, they work. They're structurally sound, I suppose you could say. The music sort of theory's there. But the actual sort of audio quality is pretty low. And sort of, it's almost like they're not mixed properly or something. But they're not mixed at all because it's just generated out of noise, basically. That's how it works, I think. It's like it uses like a... I'm not even... Actually, do you know what? I'm not even going to get into it because I don't understand it really. I just know buzzwords. Like it uses a transformer. I don't know what that really means. I know that it generates it out of noise based off a lot of data. That's about it. That's why I'm not a programmer. Well, that's that. I was hoping to show you, like, on the screen, but apparently, I'm inept. I thought I had it figured out. I don't get how to switch, between scenes. I need to try that again next time. So... Going, oh, do you know what? I'll play the next one. Why not? More funny AI 50s music. Going back to a previous topic. This is classic. It should be. Oh, fuck's sake. I've got ads coming up. YouTube ads that are really hard to get around now. Which is probably good for me, but I don't know. I like this one because the lyrics are clever. I think it's a combination of the fact that it's AI generated makes it funnier somehow because it's just obscure. Because it almost sounds like it is from the 50s. But it's just got these fucking absurd lyrics. It's just ridiculous. It led me down a bit of a rabbit hole, actually, which is another thing I want to talk about. Which is like, obviously people think of... and it's just because of the 1950s sort of side of it that made it funny at first. Because obviously music wasn't really like that, and with like things are much more vulgar and whatever nowadays, and because you think of it as like a lot more conservative values, you know, a lot more polite and all that stuff, and well, then I went down the rabbit hole listening to all these different AI generated stuff, and then I stumbled across something that I assumed was AI generated, and it wasn't. And it's by... There is filthy music from the 1950s. There's a singer, a female singer, called Lucille Bogan, and she used to... I forget her full story. I watched a whole thing about her because I didn't believe it at first, because I just heard some of her music next to other things, and she's singing about cocks and fucking pussy and sucking and shit like that. But it was like obviously a 1950s recording. And yeah, that's what, like, originally I thought, oh, this must be AI as well, but it turns out it's a real person and it was a real thing at the time. So that was a fun aside. And she had like a really rough life. She was quite promiscuous and yeah, she was quite a character. She was quite a character. I need to get chat going. I think that's it. Well, yeah. I think that's it for now. In terms of me rambling about AI, I've got a couple of other things I want to talk about. I mean, I was going to talk about how AI could be used for backing tracks, because obviously my biggest videos are my AI not fuck's sake. Freudian slip. My 1 hour compilation. Definitely not AI. Like, the current AI probably couldn't do that, especially the video side of it. Because it can do like short loops, but when it doesn't understand the concept of, like I've said before, you know, certain keys, certain changes, certain tempos, it just gets a sort of feel based on whatever text you give it. I'm sure it could be, you know, you get so-called prompt engineers who are really good at sort of dialing in this stuff, and I'm sure that's possible, but I don't know. I was very worried before. I think I'll be okay. With my ambitions. Of course, my ultimate ambition is to get away from sort of digitally producing the backing tracks altogether, because I know a great drummer and a great bass player. I'd like to do like live recordings instead of, you know, doing it all in the bedroom, so to speak. I think that would be great. And I like not have everything on a metronome grid, because I feel like that would help people as well, like in developing. I mean, I don't think there's any harm in playing on a grid. In fact, it's better to play to a metronome, not to not play to one. But in terms of having a bit of flexibility in the tempo, which is what you get when you play with a band. So I think it's good in that respect, a good way to practice. But for now, I'm confined to my room and this computer. Oh man, the other thing that I wanted to ramble about, the music copyright on YouTube. I had my first content claim, and I didn't understand it at all, because all I got right was it selects a portion of your video, and it says it told me this is a cover, apparently of someone else, and and it tells you the name of the song and the company that owns it. So I looked into the information that it gave me, and I thought, well, I've never heard of that song before. I think it was called Your Love or something. I think that was it. Well, no. Here's the thing. There were 2 claims on the same song or the same backing track, and apparently it was 2 different songs at once, which I don't know. Okay, that's possible, or it would be. So I thought, fine, it's that part. It probably, because I think the way that the content ID stuff works, it must just sound too much like another song that I don't know. Because at first I tried to look it up, and it doesn't tell you the artist. It just says, this song owned by this, like, label. And I was just kind of annoyed. It was late. I was like, fine. No, actually, initially I was really annoyed because it was late, and I thought, well, no, fuck that. I don't accept because the way that this copyright works, at least in the UK, is you've got two types of copyright. You've got songwriting copyright, uh, publishing, I believe it's called, and you've got mechanical copyright, which is like the recording, like the specific physical recording, or I guess virtual now, and they're separate rights, but one contains the other, if that makes sense. So you've got you could have a particular recording that contains the song content, and that's why, like, I think this happened with Taylor Swift, to give a high profile example, even though, so it must be similar in the US. I think when she wanted to split from her label, she basically went away and re-recorded her songs so that she would have ownership of those particular recordings. But it's the same sort of thing. And so I decided to dispute. And what immediately happens when you dispute a claim, the reason I was going to dispute a claim, and my argument was this, was the particular part in question, there was no melody line. It was just a chord progression. Like a lot of my, like, there are melodies here and there in the backing tracks, but it's a chord progression, and you can't own a chord progression, right? They're not subject to copyright. And obviously I own the recording because I literally recorded it that day and produced it. I didn't use any samples. There were no lyrics. That's basically what my counterclaim was. But the second you counterclaim, they immediately get all the revenue. Not that is basically irrelevant, because like the individual backing tracks get very few views anyway. But it's the principle of them gaining money for something that you created that they have no right to claim over. And then you have to, so I did that, and it said it was going to take a month, like up to a month, to get a response. And my understanding is, if you lose one of these claims, I don't know if it's still like this, but I've watched other creators in the past complaining about this. Basically, if you lose a counterclaim, you'd think you get a strike on your channel or something like that. And so the next day, after I'd slept and I'd sort of cleared my head a bit, I thought, I could wait a month for this, I could fight for this, or I could just redo that section, which would take like 5 minutes. So I did that, because it just seemed like such a better choice, like a more practical choice anyway. And in the end, finished it, re-uploaded, and then picked a different section. And I was like, for fuck's sake. Clearly it was the chord progression, because the sounds in the different parts were very different. And it bothered me more because of like the last 1 hour compilation that came out. I wanted to use it for that, and in the end I couldn't, because fuck off, are they getting shared revenue from like a month's work for like 1 minute of a backing track? And it just didn't seem worth the dispute in the end, for the potential of getting a channel strike. On principle, maybe, because you can't, my understanding is legally you can't own a chord progression. Like, because then, like, how long before just a few people own everything? Except jazz. Anyway, yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. I think it's just an error with the content ID system. I never actually, for the main songs that I listened to that it was meant to be, I couldn't find anything that I thought, oh yeah, it's that. I just moved on in the end. I mean, partly because, since I started trying to, like, just making regular backing tracks, regular-ish, I think I've done nearly 40, and that was like the first time that's been an issue. So I thought, well, it's not that bad. I'll just make another one. It's fine. It was a bit annoying, but what can you do? I wasn't going to wait another bloody month for what I can basically solve in a day. Oh god, what a month it's been. Yeah, talk about bloody mishaps. As well as that, I for like 2 years I've had the same pedal board that I sort of put together myself, and slowly upgraded bits here and there, switched between pedals, and I was planning eventually, if there was any interest, to maybe make a short video showing like what my setup is, how I record stuff. But it wasn't to be, because shenanigans. Basically, I went to jam with someone, sort of out in the sticks relative to where I am, and had several drinks at their place. They've got such a cool little studio, a lot of gear and stuff. And sort of on the way back, I was with my cousin, and we had several drinks in all these like country pubs, just because we had to make a lot of train changes and stuff. And somewhere in all the chaos, I left my pedal board somewhere, quite inebriated at the time, and so that was just gone. The thing is, I realised it was gone maybe at another station, the next station or the next pub. The thing is, I didn't know where I'd lost it, and so we thought about going back to the last station, and I thought, well, there's no point, because it's not. We'll have to wait forever to get back there, and probably just to be disappointed anyway. I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just have to. Yeah, I didn't really think about it until the next day. I was like, I just have to move on. Use it. The thing is, when like some gear breaks or you lose something, it can be a bit of an excuse, because I tend to be quite tight when it comes to gear sometimes. Like, I'll hold on to something, like, because I broke out of the habit of just buying new gear all the time, because it's fun to just buy gear new all the time. And I tend to not buy something until I have to replace. Like, if you've got stuff that's working and it's serving you well, then you don't need to just keep buying stuff. So when something breaks, then you're in the market for an upgrade. And I sort of treated it like that, I suppose. And I bought myself a bit of a dated multi-effects processor. And to be honest, I'm actually glad I lost my pedal board now, just because it's got stuff like it's just for the IR and the amp sim side of it that's built in. It's just so good. I got it pre-owned, and because it's a bit dated, it wasn't too expensive. But it has, like, you can do so much with them. It doesn't quite sound as good as having a actual pedal board with your individual pedals, like a proper like wah pedal, and you can gain stage, and I mean you can do it with that, but you can't see it. But it's been much better for recording with, just like for the emulated mic and speaker stuff that's built into it, and a lot of different effects, and the way that you can, there's just so much more flexibility compared to a fixed sort of pedal board. You can obviously change pedals and stuff, but there's so much more there's so many more options and experimentation, but which is great for recording, but it's been a bit of a pain at band practice, like just trying to get the levels right, trying to get the sounds right for different songs where everything was quite dialed in before, because I've been using that board for years. like trying to get the sounds dialed in. So it's like starting from scratch, but ultimately I think it was a good thing. It wasn't a good thing. It was a shame, but yeah, it was an expensive mistake, let's say, and not a cheap day and night either. But what can you do? No, I regret nothing. It was a good day. I think that's about all that I'm going to ramble about. Just, the only other thing I really wanted to talk about was generic YouTube-y stuff. Like the Discord server I've been promoting in my videos. Not many people use... I don't even really use Discord that much. But when I do use it, it's really useful because it's like a chat room kind of thing, but you can share pictures and have different chats and stuff. It's quite handy for that. I thought it's like a good sort of hub to just chat nonsense and share musical ideas and videos and stuff, which is why I'm pushing it now in the description of my videos. And like, I'd like to develop these a bit more, get a bit better with the whole process and how to stream a bit better, so that I can show things on the screen and not have it all break. And hopefully we'll get a bit less messy and a bit less confused. But I suppose that's it, actually. Really. Oh, fucking hell. I mean, there's a couple of other things, but I'm not going to go into that now. I did the thing. I've been under the weather, but I really wanted... So I have this sort of slot where I can do just chat nonsense and stream and chat with people, if I can get the fucking chat working next time. I thought this would be a fun thing to do, just for me, really, because it's fun. And because it's something I've wanted to do for ages. I might have it be a bit more musical. You actually get the instrument out, give some demonstration. Yeah, like, you can do anything with it. It's just fun hangout, really. And that's why I like the idea. Like, we can share... This is another thing that I wanted to do through the Discord, is like, people can... Like, in another one, we could... Or, like, it would be cool to have a segment where we look at, like, stuff that people have sent, like guitar improvs and stuff over the backing tracks. I think that would be cool. I think I said that last time as well. I'm just trying to implement things. So, still trying to get the hang of it. Anyway, I'm getting tired now. Thank you guys, for tolerating my nonsense, my rambling, and if you found this somewhat interesting, somewhat enjoyable, then hopefully I'll see you next time. Hopefully next time I'll have chat working, and I guess I'm going to go now. Thank you very much.